got kind of, can share them, three people on each songbook or something like that. So this is a song by Narottam Das Thakur. And Prabhupada always explains how this knowledge is coming down, right, from one person to another. So who is Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master? Okay, who's Bhaktisiddhanta's spiritual master? Gorkashore Babaji. His spiritual master is? No, Bhakti Vinod, his spiritual master is? Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And before Bhakti Vinod Thakur is? Jagannath Das Babaji. Before him is? Vishwanath Chakravarti. Before him is Narottam Das Thakur. Then Krishna Das Kaviraj, Raghunath Das Goswami, Swarup Damodar, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's basically it. Then the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we jump to all the way to Madhvacharya. From Madhvacharya to Brahma, Vyasa. Yeah. So anyway, so Narottam was very, very great devotee in our line. And Narottam was a little boy, right? Yeah, he started off that way. And his father was like a count or something, the count of Sacramento County or something. He was like a pretty potent guy. And Narottam was a very nice child. Everyone liked him very much. They were living someplace, I guess not in Bengal or something near there. So every day, Narottam would go to his school in the morning, and he would stop by the house of one Brahmin, a very old person who was becoming blind, a little bit weak. And he'd help him take care of his cooking, everything. And that way the Brahmin then had time to answer his questions. And this Brahmin had actually personally participated in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes and different things like that. So Narottam was asking him so many questions about, this happened, did that happen, what did people do, and everything. So it was going on quite some time, and maybe he was about 8 years old or something, 9 years old. And then one day he didn't come home in the afternoon, and the Rani, she became more and more disturbed about what was happening, and finally she called her husband, and he said, you're right, it's getting very late, this is disturbing. So he took a few soldiers, and he went to the Brahmin's house, and he said, no, he left here the same time he always leaves. And after that, he goes and takes his bath at the Ghat. So you can go look right away, very quick. So they went there. It was getting very late in the evening. The sun was going down, and there was nobody there. This one worshipman was closing up his final clothes, some street dogs, one crazy street boy, just kind of mad. But after some time, the Rani realized the crazy street boy was Narottam. He was just like that. So she grabbed him, and his complexion had changed, and he was just crazy. So they took him home, and after a few hours, he calmed down. And he said that he had been, taking his bath with everybody else, and then he saw this vision of this beautiful Brahmin boy just singing Hari, 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 like that. And he'd gone crazy, gone mad in an association like that. So there's a story that some years before, Lord Chaitanya had been traveling and passing by the river, and he was standing there, and he kept saying, Narottam, Narottam, Narottam. So he was calling Narottam to come from the spiritual world, like that. And then he left a treasure with the river. He said, when you see Narottam, you give him this treasure. And the treasure was gold and jewels. What was it?
The most precious gold and jewels.
What is it? What is it? Tell us. Krishna Prema. And so he had that experience in that oh my goodness, So after that he was pretty much inconsolable. He wanted to go and join Lord Chaitanya's followers. He kept kind of running away from home like Raghunath Das Goswami, and his parents kept bringing him back. He was so much absorbed in love of Krishna that even the Zamindar, came to see him, the Muslim fellow, and respect him. So finally he was able to escape. And he went to Brazil, Argentina, Sacramento, or Vrindavan?
Vrindavan.
Okay, Vrindavan.
Yeah.
All right. You get 2 points.
Okay, good.
You can't take prasadam until you get 10 points. Or somebody gets 10 points. Okay. Yeah. So he went to Vrindavan, and he met the Goswamis. They were there, Rupa, Sanatana, everybody. He was feeling so happy, with them. And finally, he was seeing one devotee, one Vaishnava, and he decided, I want to take him as my preceptor, as my guru. And that was, who was that? Lokanath Goswami. This is the ISKCON Hare Krishna Center, right? I come to ask you questions here. Yeah, but Lokanath Goswami. But Lokanath was very, very humble, and he thinks, I'm not qualified to teach anybody. So he had not accepted any disciples, and although many people approached him. And when Narottam, about your age, he came and said, sir, can I please become your student? And he said, no, you're just trying to flatter me, trying to make me think I'm much more than I am. Go away, stop this. So Narottam was feeling very disconsolate, but he decided to do something. And so every day when Lokanath would go out to do his business of evacuating and everything, Narottam would come and clean the area and put flowers there. So after a couple of days, Lokanath became suspicious because he said, well, maybe I have some advancement in devotional service, but I don't think my stool and urine are turning into flowers. It's just like, So after one time he hid in the bushes, and then Narottam came and was cleaning everything, and he said, oh, it's you again, causing all these problems, flattering me, I'll chase you and hit you with a stick, So then Narottam was very disturbed. Oh my goodness, And all the Goswamis were watching all this and stuff. So they went, Rupa and Sanatana, everybody, they went to Lokanath and they said, look, we're all doing this work, we're accepting students and training them. You're a lazy fellow, And even though you maybe, think you're so fallen, you have some abilities, so you should do this also. You should start training people. This boy Narottam, he's a very nice person, very nice boy. You should take him. So Lokanath said, all right, call him here. He said, all right, what's your name? He said, all right, it's okay. He said, you're my first disciple, you're my second disciple, and you're my last disciple. Now get out of here, come back tomorrow, and I'll tell you what I know. So then Narottam became the disciple of Lokanath, but in the Parampara list, he comes right after Krishnadas Kaviraj, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Narottam, Lokanath and Krishnadas Kaviraj were, intimate friends. But Krishnadas Kaviraj was the Acharya, so in the Parampara list, even though he wasn't initiated by him, that's how the Parampara descends. It goes from Acharya to Acharya, like that. It's hearing and chanting, more than just like this strict initiation. So after that, he was developing his own spiritual life, everything else, and so many unusual experiences. In Gaura Lila, he's a young boy, a sannyasi, like that. And in Krishna Lila, what is he? He's a manjari. What are manjaris? Manjaris are 35 years old.
Gopi.
Huh?
Gopi. Who supports a gopi or help them?
Yeah, they're little girls, like 7 years old, 8 years old, and the sakis then are big girls, like 12 years old, 13 years old. Right? What is Radharani's Nitya Kishori age?
Less than.
How many years old is her like?
Krishna was 16-year-old.
So she's 15.
15.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nitya Kishori. Krishna can be adjusted whatever is necessary. And Lalita is the oldest. She's 1 year older, so she's like the boss. We're following Lalita. The principal manjari helping Lalita is Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami. So actually our whole tradition is pretty much coming from Lalita's character, nature. Radharani wants to cook for Krishna. Okay? Radharani wants to dance for Krishna. Radharani wants to sing for Krishna. Radharani wants to do psychotherapy for Krishna, especially things. Sympathize, talk about things, But she wants to do them all at one time, so what happens? She just explodes. Then she becomes 8 principal sakis. Okay, now for 25 points, who can name 2 of the sakis?
Shaka and Lalita.
Vishaka, Lalita. Okay, who can name 2 more? Champakalata, Induleka, Sudevi. She has a twin sister, Rangadevi, Chitraleka, yeah. And Tungavidya. I think it's all, we've got everybody there, like that, yeah. And there's expansions of Radharani, so they have different humors, different character, like that. But also, there are 8 principal, different lists, but one list lists 8 principal gopis in Vrindavan who are not expansions of Radharani. Radharani is one of them. Another one is Radha and Chandravali. And then the beginning of Nectar of Devotion, it talks about Shama, Tara, Palika. And these are 8 principal gopis in Vrindavan, and Radharani has her 8 expansions like that. Rupa Goswami describes this in Gauragana Desha Deepika and places like that. So it's all there in our literature and stuff. So Narottam was having so many experiences. If you sing the songs by Narottam in here, you can see this, his mood, his feeling. He's like internally he's like maybe like a 7-year-old girl and caught up in all these amorous pastimes of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is like a big, what do you call it in Spanish? Telenovela. Telenovela, right? Right? ¿Usted conoce telenovelas? No? No conoce? Okay.
Spanish?
Yeah, telenovela.
Oh!
Yeah, see? Yeah, yeah. Soap opera.
Yeah.
Soap operas, all these things, you know. Vrindavan is like one long soap opera. And all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are like middle school. They're not primary school, they're not high school, they're kind of in between, but you can't figure out quite what's happening and everything else, and just such an emotional time like that. You know? So he's in this humor of being like, you know, a 7-year-old girl, and you know, Radha Krishna Pranamor, living alive or dead, Radha and Krishna are my life. You know, you can't criticize them or anything else as long as I'm around. Like that. So very interesting, the internal, external moods. So he did many things, but he also wrote one songbook called Prarthana. Prarthana means prayers. Prarthana. Another one I think is, what is it called? This song, where's it going? It's actually, it says from Prarthana. From Prarthana. There's going to be one here that is from Prema Bhakti Chandrika. And I think somebody asked Gorkishwara's Babaji, how can I obtain prema? He said, it's available for $2.25 in the marketplace. 50 paisa. Huh? Yeah, this is from Prema Chandrika. These 2 books. Actually, Bhaktivedanta Thakur's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said 3 books. Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction, Prarthana, and Prema Bhakti Chandrika of Chaitanya by Narottam. Prabhupada also some citations. So you study these, he says, like that, so on. So different levels of development. So right from the very beginning, we have some nice songs from Prarthana. And this song on page 70 is Lala Samai Prarthana. And this is the very first song in the songbook, like that. And it's kind of like a summary of the whole thing. And it's one of 2 songs in all the Prabhupada's books. He only quotes 2 songs. This song in Adi Lila, chapter 7, and then Narada Muni Bhajai Vina in canto 6. And people say that Prabhupada said that was his most favorite song, like that, Narada Muni Bhajai Vina, and so on. Okay.
Raj, would you like the karta?
Huh?
Would you like the karta?
You have the cartels. So you played them. Somebody else, 2 other pairs. Oh, you have them? There were 2 pairs. No. You play
We have
them.
2 pairs.
You play them. I'll play the drum.
Yeah, sure. The drums.
Yeah, we need more cartels. At least 6 pairs at least. Oh, yeah, here we go. There we go. Good. You can go, right? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and. It's pretty good, huh? It's not great, but it's pretty good. This sounds kind of heavy. It's
Is
nice.
it a Peruvian production,
Huh?
the drum?
¿Cómo se llama?
Tambor?
Tamborín.
Tamborín.
Yeah. The word tambor means drum in Spanish, and tamborín, little drum, you know, that.
Oh, if you-
Sounds like we got something going here. Okay. Oh, we need, there's like something in between here. Okay. I do this here. So probably with the bongos, right? Like that. Little African program. Okay. Okay. So this is a very nice song. Prabhupada said, this song was sung by Narottam Das, a great devotee of an Acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So I guess you sing 2 lines and you respond. Gauranga bolite habe pulaka hare Hari Hari balite nai yane babe Kadeha Mahera Bo Shri Vrindavana Vijaya Sahiya Kave Shushavima Kadeha Mahera Bo Shri Vrindavana Rupara Gunata Pare Hoy Deya Kutai Kadeha Babuja Bosai Jugola Pirete Rupara Gunata Pare Hoy Deya Kadeha Babuja Bosai Jugola Rupara Gunata Padai Rahumai Prajana Koroje Sado Sarotamadan Goranga Bolite Habe Puraka Hare Hari Hari Bolite Nai Yane Babe Goranga Bolite Habe Puraka Hare Hare Hari Bolite Nai Yane Babe Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Goranga Bolite Habe Puraka Hare Hari Bolite Nai Yane Babe This song was sung by Narottam Das Thakur, a great devotee and acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, the disciplic succession coming down from Lord Chaitanya. Narottam Das Thakur has written many songs which are recognized as authoritative by all Vaishnavas. He has sung these songs in simple Bengali language, but the purport, the deep meaning of his songs is very significant. So any Bengalis here? Huh? Bangla?
Mataji.
Huh? Bangla? Bangla ho.
Chaitanya Mataji.
Oh, Chaitanya, I know you. So there are two Bengali languages, no? Sadhu Bhasa, and Cholita Bhasa, which is simpler Bengali language. Yeah. So his songs weren't sung in the very high, almost Sanskrit language, but in a very common language like that. So he put everything in the language people could understand, which is what an acharya has to do, like that. You know? In this song, he says, Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharir. Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharir. One has attained the perfection of chanting when, as soon as he chants the name of Lord Gauranga, who initiated the Sankirtan movement, at once there is shivering in his body. This is not to be imitated, but Narottam Das Thakur is asking, when will that opportune moment come to us when there will be shivering of the body as soon as we chant Lord Gauranga's name? After this shivering, Hari Hari Bolite, Nayane Babe Nir. When chanting Hare Krishna, there will be tears in the eyes. Like that, you know? Just the perfection, Prabhupada is saying like that. You know? So many times, Prabhupada says, this movement is a science, right? He introduced it that way, the science of Krishna consciousness. So Narottam, he's following this tradition. He's making it accessible for us. Then from Narottam we come down then, as we described, to Vishwanath Chakravarti, and then to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada, like that. And so many people following Prabhupada, trying to get some potency from his association, like that. But pretty much Prabhupada said this movement is conducted under the supervision of Rupa Goswami. We're all Rupa Nugas. There are many people who claim to be followers of Lord Chaitanya. Ramakrishna, so he's following Lord Chaitanya. What's it called? Saki Beki. Saki Beki was one movement. And what was their position? They said, well, Lord Chaitanya says you should imitate the mood of the gopis. So their acharya would dress all the sannyasis up and put, makeup on, and they would wear saris, and they would dance in the mood of the gopis. Okay, that, Yeah, externally we imitate the mood of the Goswamis and how they acted externally. And internally, okay, then we imitate that process, like that, so on. So there actually, I came back from Radhadesh, we have this college, ISKCON College in Belgium, and they had a conference there, ISKCON Studies Institute. And it's devotees who have doctorates, who are teaching in universities like that and so on. And some of them were submitting papers on ethics and morality and Gaudiya Vaishnavism. It's in honor of one big professor who just left his body. And one of them was talking about the whole history of the Sahajiya movement. Because Lord Chaitanya says, chant Hare Krishna, take prasad, be happy, this and that, become absorbed in the mood of the gopis. But so many very disgusting branches and people developed taking this. And he said, all right, everybody here is adult, but some of the ladies may want to cover your ears at this point. And he was giving some of the less disgusting activities that were going on with sexual sadhana, incredible things like that. And they were all claiming to be followers of Lord Chaitanya. And because they were following Lord Chaitanya and taking the names of Gaur Nitai, they were manifesting some symptoms, so on. But we're specifically then, we're not just following Lord Chaitanya, we are Rupa Nugas. And he says here, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti, right? When I become very, probably translates it as, when I become very anxious to study the literature left by the six Goswamis, Kabi Hamabuja Bose Yugala Piriti, then I will be able to understand the pastimes of Yugala Piriti, the divine couple, like that, and so on. So this is how we do it, And what books do we have from Rupa Goswami? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada translated as? Summary study. He translates most of the verses. He adds in some explanations like that. So basically it's nectar of devotion. But it's very difficult to understand. And so then Jiva Goswami, he said, my uncle did a very, very beautiful thing. He took the science of devotional service. It's a science. What happens if you take a big weather balloon and you fill it with 2 molecular parts of hydrogen and 1 molecular part of oxygen, and then put a match to it? Yeah, you'll get a chest-thumping explosion. It wouldn't kill anybody, but you would feel your glasses going back against your face here. and you feel some water vapor in the room. Every time, right? H2O. So Krishna consciousness is a science. If chemistry is a science, what to speak of theology? Theology is going to be the most precise, right? The most, broad science like that. But what is it? In the modern world, people don't understand. So Rupa Goswami then took bhakti and he produced a science to explain Lord Chaitanya's philosophy, the modern man. And then a summary of the whole thing is there in Upadesh Amrita, right? Upadesh Amrita. How many verses in Upadesh Amrita? 11 verses, like Kadasi. And he summarizes everything from the most simple principles up to the most complicated like that. And the purports, then Prabhupada, the Acharyas, they expanded out. If you follow all the citations, you have a wonderful study guide to all of our literature, all of Prabhupada's books. So nectar instruction, summary. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the complete science. And then Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava, right? These are demonstration. What are these? Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. Huh? Two dramas. Yeah. One is about Krishna in Vrindavan, and the other is about Krishna in Dwarka. Which one is about Krishna in Vrindavan? Vidagdha Madhava or Lalita Madhava?
Lalita.
No. The V's match. Vrindavan, Vidagdha.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and it's full of all these very subtle things. Upadeshamrita is a summary. Everything's there, the basis. But then Rupa Goswami has the complete science in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Very logical, very, very analytical, and nice books explaining that. Jiva Goswami has a commentary. Damodar Maharaj has a very, very nice, in ISKCON, very, very nice explanation called Waves of Devotion. Because many things are very difficult to translate. Then after that demonstration of all these sentiments, feelings, emotions, the real natural development of the soul, right? The soul ultimately is emotional. We had this discussion in Silicon Valley this morning, like that. Science is logical, right? Is science emotional? Is science based upon sentiment? They would say no. Yeah. But Euclidean geometry, and so much science is based upon Euclidean geometry. And then expanded into other things, calculus, whatever. But Euclidean geometry is based upon certain postulates, axioms. For example, what is the first element in Euclid's geometry? Everything here is based upon Euclidean geometry. This whole room, everything we're doing. Without Euclidean geometry, you couldn't build this place. So what is his first element? The point. And what is a point? Yeah, it has no weight. A point is that which has no extension. It has no width, it has no breadth, it has no brothers, it has no mother, it has no father, it has no sister, it has no history, it has no future. In Sanskrit we call this neti neti. The absolute, not this, not this, not this, not this. Okay, it's one approach, but it's considered kind of limited. But that's the basis of our whole thing. Okay, but that's his element. So he goes through different elements, postulates, which, where do they come from? Well, there's postulates. Well, they come from someplace. Why do you accept them? Well, because, you ask him, because it feels right. It just feels right. So the Vedas say ultimately everything is rasa, bhava, sentiment, And also geometry and everything else has a certain feel to it. This room is a certain vastu, right? Architectural feeling of this room, the way it's placed and stuff like that. This room has good vastu or bad vastu? It's pretty good. One thing, the ceilings are high, which makes you stand up like that, It's pretty much a square, which makes you grounded. By chopping off this corner, you get some kind of break of energy and like a little bit of dynamicism to it like that, which is a little bit disorienting, but also gives you a little bit of motion and stuff. So the whole science, architecture, these kind of Vastu Veda, and medicine is, Ayurveda, political science is, that's martial arts. Art of Danda Veda. Danda Veda, because the king has the danda. Bhishma Deva explained Danda Veda to Yudhisthira, like that. And then what we're doing is Gandharva Veda. Gandharva Veda is music, dance, and drama, like that. So Lord Chaitanya was always acting out the meaning of the songs, like that and stuff. This is Raganuga. You have to understand what it means. You have to sing the song. And then you can stay in the same position for 40 years and make no progress. One Christian preacher says, every Sunday you come to the same church. You hear the same sermon. You sit in the same spot. You sing the same songs. It smells like you. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you'll go to Indraloka or something, or who knows, whatever, But yeah, we have to go through the different levels of development. So Rupa Goswami is describing it. It's a science. If I take Chinese ice, okay, I have some ice here. It's from China. And I apply some heat to it. What happens? Yes, but it's Chinese ice. It's universal. Okay. I apply more heat to the Chinese water. What happens? It becomes steam. Okay, apply more heat to the steam and it becomes? Huh? It's already vapor.
Atoms.
Plasma. That's the next level. Okay, yeah. So it's a universal. Bhakti is universal principles. You look at the Quran, you look at the Dharmapada, Confucius, you'll find the same rules, the same things like that and so on. Different development, different perspective. Teresa of Avila, yeah, she's a very famous Christian lady. She was a nun, brahmacharini, in the ashram. And she said, my bishop has asked me to write some guidebook for the younger girls and some ideas, and I don't know if I can do anything or not. I'm becoming so feeble-minded and so old. I have arthritis. And, but I've been ordered to do this, so I'll try and do something, and at least maybe it'll distract me from my arthritis, So listening to her, it's just like, you look at this, you can see she was like a very friendly old nun, like that and stuff. But if you got out of line, she could get you back in line. So very nice, sentiment. And she describes the development of spiritual life as a crystal palace with different rooms in it, different levels. And you go, it's just the same thing we're describing. But it's nice because you can see she focuses on different levels, different perspectives. Prabhupada was invited, the devotees arranged for Prabhupada when he was in Australia to go visit one Franciscan Trapezian? How do you say it? Huh? Yeah, they're like Franciscan, but one order. They're very austere, Franciscan monks. And so Charu said he was driving, and Prabhupada was in the front seat, a few more devotees, brahmacharis maybe. And we drove maybe outside of Melbourne or something, maybe for like half an hour, 45 minutes. And they came to this very, very nice Christian monastery out in the country. And Charu says they kind of drove in, and then some of the older monks were out there with long gray beards to receive them and other people. And so they kind of looked at Prabhupada, and Prabhupada looked at them. There's a Zen Buddhist phrase: when two thieves meet upon the road, they need no introduction. They know each other by sight. Yeah. So Prabhupada said, just like that, these older, very serious, celibate monks, they kind of looked at Prabhupada, and Prabhupada looked at them, and it was like, okay. So they all went inside, maybe a room about this big, and they had maybe 4 or 5 sofas and different chairs. And all the different younger monks come, and some were maybe like 18 years old, and the older monks would be 85 years old. So Charu said Prabhupada was sitting on the couch between the 2 oldest monks like that, and he started talking about things. And he said within just a few minutes, Prabhupada had like won their hearts and everything else, and he started talking about different things like that. When Prabhupada went to Paris, the devotees told me were there, so it was the same kind of atmosphere. People in Paris, French people are very proud, Don't try to learn French. You cannot possibly speak French. Very arrogant. So they said it was a very big program. They advertised well, maybe like 400 people in the audience and stuff. And so they're all kind of looking at Prabhupada. He came in and sat down, So then Prabhupada's staring back at them. And he says, so, I hear that French people are very fond of revolution. So I propose a revolution. So it's right away, Then he went on. He said, Krishna is a transcendental woman hunter, like that, and he's always looking for a new girlfriend. So I hear the most beautiful girls in the world are in Kashmir and France. Oh, Prabhupada. Yeah. So So Krishna has come to, looking for a French girlfriend. So tomorrow we'll have beautiful installation of the deities like that, and you're all invited to come. But I predict after this he will go to Kashmir. So on, It's like that. Prabhupada, he was dealing at this level, and beyond the logical, intellectual level, dealing at this where people really change their mind. These archetypes, these sentiments, which are full of personalities, not just like sensations. So then Prabhupada was there. We're talking about he was somebody. Oh yeah, the Trappestian monks. Trappestian. I don't know how to say it in English. So he was talking, and then he was saying like, no, you say I'm a new guy here. I'm trying to do something you can see with my culture, and we're a little bit too different, but basically we're all trying to head in the same direction. And so I want a little help from you. I'm trying to establish my brahmacharya ashram and have monks and stuff here. And I don't know how to do it in the West. It's so different than India. So you got to give me a little help. You guys have been doing it for a long time, and they were talking with Prabhupada about the tradition. And they were asking him what the monks did in India. And he said it became so friendly and everything else. And he said Prabhupada's arms were on the back of the sofa like this, and almost embracing these guys and stuff. And he said a very high level of conversation. You don't see it too often in Prabhupada's preaching because there aren't many people in the world like that. And then Prabhupada said, okay, now we chant. So we'll chant Krishna, and you can think of Christ, Jesus Christ, like that and so on. He started chanting, and he said many of the monks and stuff were actually in Prabhupada's association, were actually beginning to cry and stuff like that, and praying and chanting like that and so on. So this is preaching. Different level, different people at different levels. Prabhupada used to preach to monkeys. Prabhupada preached to so many people, During one Sunday feasting program in New York, one boy was creating all these disturbances during the lecture. Then Prabhupada finally looked at him and said, why are you creating all these disturbances? Can't you sit quiet and listen? And the guy said, I can't understand what you're saying. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, bring prasadam. So they had a whole place, and the guy was eating and listening and stuff like that. So it makes sense to it, So we have to understand what level people are on. You try and present something too high, and people won't understand it. In the Bible, it says, do not cast your pearls before swine, right? Lest they trample them underfoot and then turn on you, right? So first people will insult your ideas and your philosophy, then they'll go after you. You're an idiot, why didn't you do this? You've come to America, why don't you become like a decent Western person? Yeah. So different levels, right? So this song is very, very nice. It also describes the levels. It's the very, very first song in the songbook. It's one of the few songs that Prabhupada quotes. So very worth memorizing, worth studying. And he starts off with the basic principle is that by Lord Chaitanya's mercy we can feel ecstasy. And then when we become more advanced, we chant Hare Krishna, our hairs are standing on end. But when we stop associating with devotees, it's finished. We go back to our own mundane life and become stupid again. So what's the real science? What's the process? How do we get free from material attachments? When we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Arakabe, Nitai Chan, Koruna, Hoibe. When will Lord Nityananda be merciful to me? And what happens? Vishaya Chadiya Kabe. I get free from all these reactions of my karma, which are forcing me to act in different ways like that. All the what do you call it? Samskaras? There's another word, vasanas that are forcing me to act in a certain way. Carl Jung also talks about this. Okay, and then I go on, more and more chanting like that. And then not only do I become free from the gross physical compulsions to smoke, drink, watch this, watch that, but my mind also becomes free from these things. Relatively speaking, my mind and stuff doesn't think about it so much anymore. And then at that point, Kabe Hama Harabo Sri Vrindavana. Right? What happens then? Then you can see Vrindavan. Are we in Sacramento now? Are we in spiritual world now? Are Radha and Krishna here? Are the gopis here? Is Vrindavan? Is Nanda Maharaj here? Yeah. It probably says little dust. And you'll be able to see. That's what's happening. We're intoxicated. One Englishman, he sees 3 people working. Right? How many?
3.
Okay. They're all doing the same thing. And he goes to the first guy and he says, what are you doing? And the Englishman says, can't you see, you damn fool? Are you blind? I'm laying bricks. Okay, leave me alone. The guy says, okay, thank you, okay. He goes to the second guy, doing the same thing. He says, what are you doing? And the guy says, oh, I'm making money, take care of my family. Okay, he says, well, okay, thank you, thank you. He goes to the third guy and he says, what are you doing? And the guy says, oh, it's very interesting. We're building this church, and now we're putting up the bricks that make the wall that'll go behind the main altar. And when it's a little bit set, in a few days, the marble masons will come and they'll hang the marble here like that. And he said, my children are very small now, but when my children are bigger, I'm going to bring them here and show them how I helped to build this great cathedral. So they're all doing the same thing, but the consciousness is different, the bhava, how much we're awake to what's happening and so on. So many nice studies, psychology, everything else. But this is what he's saying. I come to this point, then I can see Vrindavan when I'm that purified. And see how Krishna's hand is everywhere. But then, next step, get the mercy of the Manjaris. Rupa Raghunatha Pade, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari. Then I'll be able to understand Radha Krishna pastimes. Do people understand Radha Krishna pastimes in Vaikuntha? What do the Dwarkavasis think? Akrura brings Krishna back, then what happens? And Krishna wants to go back to Vrindavan, right? What do the Dwarkavasis think? What are they thinking? Why do you want to go back to Vrindavan? There's cow dung and all this kind of stuff there. Yuck, they're very nice people. Let them come here. They can come to Dwarka, and we'll give Nanda Baba. He's Vasudev's brother. We'll give them nice places to stay, and they can have jewels and ornaments and silk. But the Vrishvasis can't live without Vrindavan. Like that. The opulence of Vrindavan is flowers for helmets, for garlands, for these kind of things, fragrances and so on. Very simple, like that. So the Dwarkavasis can't understand. Why would Krishna want to go back to Vrindavan? Now he's with his real father and mother, right? He was separated for so many years. Now he's with his real father and mother. But they can't understand, like that. So they ask somebody to explain it to them. What is this? And also Krishna's there at night, sleeping, and he's talking in his sleep, Radharani, Radha, the Queen's Dwarka, Satyabhama, and everybody listening, Meow. Who is this? Yeah. So Rohini. Rohini is the person. Who is Rohini? Who's her son? Baladev. Yeah. So she participates in both sides of the pastimes, in Dwarka and Vrindavan. Yeah, okay. So they ask her, you please tell us, who are these people and who is this Radha? Like that. Yeah. And she says, well, it's very confidential. It's very difficult to understand, and maybe I can get you to appreciate the bhava. Maybe I can communicate to this you. How do you say ISKCON in Hindi? International Society for Krishna Consciousness. In Hindi, how do you say it?
Krishna Bhavamrit Sangha.
Antarashtrika Shri Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha. So what is consciousness in that phrase? Bhavanamrita. That's the whole thing we're concerned with. We're not so much concerned with hearing. We're not so much concerned just with understanding. We're not so much concerned with we are concerned next thing with bhava. Vaidhi Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. We have to come to that level. Otherwise, we're going to come back again. So he's trying to communicate the perspective to us. So Rohini says, okay, come, let's go to some little place where we can talk alone like that. And so nobody disturbs us, we need a gatekeeper. So who's the gatekeeper? Subhadra. She's one of these tough girls, like rolling pin, like that. Yoga Maya. So she's guarding the gate, but she's listening. She's hearing Rohini describing Braja Lila. And what happens to her? Her hands go back into her body, and her eyes get very big, and so Subhadra is in Braja ecstasy. Then Balaram comes along looking for a fight with somebody or something, and he listens and he goes ecstatic. And then Jagannath comes along, Krishna, and just looks at them and knows what's happening, and he becomes ecstatic. So Jagannath is a very special deity. Jagannath is Krishna, is Vasudeva, hankering to go to Vrindavan, right? It's Vasudeva portion of Krishna hankering to go to Vrindavan. And maybe he'll take us with him. So Rath Yatra is a very special opportunity to go make spiritual advancement like that. So that's what we're talking about. It's the whole science, these different levels. In the beginning, yeah, there are principles which basically more or less amount to ethics and morality. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana vidyanta sto yabadani vidunoti suhitsatam. Translation? You know? This hearing and chanting is in of itself pious activity. Even if you fall asleep during this class, you're going to make eternal advancement in spiritual life. All right? Yeah. One devotee, his name was Bill W. He was an alcoholic. He told me himself. He was in Dallas Temple, maybe like, 50 years ago or 40 years ago. And he said he was basically living in a bar. You know, he had some place he could stay in some place, pay a little bit of money. He was getting some work, cleaning up something. But basically every day he'd go to the same club and drink and eat pretzels and, and play stupid games and hang out with people and just watch the television, discuss stupid sports. That was the way he was living, He said, but every Sunday he would go to the Dallas Hare Krishna temple and eat prasadam. It'd be like 5 or 6 plates of prasadam. And that's how he was surviving, really. But during the week, all he had was beer and pretzels and stuff or something, But, agyata sukriti. What does that mean? Ajnata sukriti. Yeah, without unknowing pious activities. He had some background. Emperor Bhoja calls it vasana. You have some kind of collection of experiences in your heart which will allow you to appreciate something about devotional service. And maybe a lot about devotional service. We accumulate these. That's why you're here now. There's a lot of options right now in Sacramento. Even Sacramento, there's a lot of options where you can go. So he felt guilty about just going and eating, so on and stuff. So I guess I'll go first in time for their hymn singing and then their sermon, and then I'll eat, So he told me he was there for 1 year. Right, 1 year. How many lectures is that? Yeah, 52 lectures, 52 kirtans like that. He said and so he didn't know it, but he was acquiring. You become an alcoholic because you have a mountain of sinful reactions. That's why you're doing this, a mountain of sinful reactions. But it was smashing away. Shrimbatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana. Just by being there, it was smashing this stuff away, smashing its way. So he said after 1 year, his mind said, Bill, yeah, what do you want? What are they talking about, Bill? Oh, yeah, they're talking, yeah. So he said for the first time, he really tried to understand what the devotees were talking about. And the first thing he realized was that the devotees were vegetarian. 52 Sunday feasts, he hadn't figured that out. Okay. So you may think that you're kind of weak-minded and having problems in devotional service, but other people are in far worse condition than we are. Okay. Wow, that's weird. When I became a Hare Krishna devotee in 1972 or something, yeah, I was becoming a vegetarian, right? Maybe, right? No, it happened to you or not. But in 1972, if you were in America, it meant one of two things. Either you were a communist or you were a homosexual. That was the whole thing like that. So how vegetarian? So my wife's sister, my sister-in-law actually asked my wife, she said, but you're going to have kids, right? Your husband's become a homosexual. Okay. Even now, it's weird. So anyway, that was weird back then, vegetarian. Wow, what else do they believe? Wow, these guys believe in reincarnation, right? They said, wow, this is weird. I'm not going to come back here anymore. But food's pretty good. Food's pretty good. Well, maybe I will become a cockroach in my next lifetime. Get all the beer I want to for free. And so on, yeah. So that was it. It's a process. It's a science. In the beginning, Shrimbatam Swakapa Krishna is hearing. It starts to break up these sinful reactions. We get freedom from distress. Chetodarpanam Arjanam, Bhavamahadevagninarjam, Shreya Kairava. Then it starts to become harmonious. We work out our family relationships, our social relationships, our working activity, our philosophy. Everything starts to become harmonious, auspicious. Then we start to develop, bhava, sentiments, feelings, like that. And every day, you got the books there? Okay, I won't ask you. If it's Bhagavad Gita, I got it here. But you want to look it up later on. It's Bhagavad Gita 4:10, 4th chapter, 10th verse. It's where, if you got it, okay, 4:10. Look up Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter, 10th verse. In the purport, There's a very, very, very important verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada translated as? Yeah. And this is a summary of the different levels that we're talking about, different levels. You can break it into 3 gross levels. Kanistadhikari, Madhyamadhikari. Yeah, but then you can make it more details like that too. And it's important. Where are we? As coming here today, we're Dave Presta. We got our GPS device. Where am I? What is the level? How far have we gone? How many minutes do we have left? Yeah, like that. Yeah. So there's different medicine at different levels. You may see a football game, Sacramento State versus somebody, and then some guy doesn't get up. And the guys are running out there with a little cart. They put these paddles on his chest, tear his clothes open, stand back. The guy's body goes up vertically. They check, there's no heartbeat. They do it again, stand back. Okay, the guy's heart's going. So you give him a couple more shocks after his heart's going? No. Now you maybe start massaging and everything else. So in the beginning, I read one place, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati said, in the beginning, marijuana may help you. Because it may break up your materialistic idea of what reality is, and you see things in a different way. But as soon as you got that idea, give it up. In the beginning, eating prasadam until you waddle like a duck, may be useful. But after a little while, as soon as you're waddling, okay, then just try and get down to a more reasonable diet. Yeah. So different levels, different things are necessary. So he talks about then here, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, different levels. So we're going to go through those now. And everybody's got to figure out what their level is afterwards. We ask you. Okay. First is, in Sanskrit,